Three, two, one. Welcome to race number 14 of 29 here in the 1991 throwbacks. And man, we have a little bit of a comeback story brewing up here because Ken Schrader has actually come and won 3 out of the last 4 NASCAR races as he has been on an absolute tear. Rusty Wallace has been slowly climbing up in points with a top 10 streak that is able to put him up into the first position. And Mark Martin has actually failed to finish worse than 16th all season long. All this put together has put together a very interesting throwbacks points table. As we can see here, Mark Martin, no poles, no wins, but he's second in there because he has been extremely consistent. This week, we are going to the Michigan International Speedway for the Miller High Life 400. This race is always a very, well, let's just say a very split one, to say the least. It can either be really good, or there's either one guy dominating, or there is an amazing race. We'll see which one we get today. And it looks like Davey Allison is going to take the pole with a speed of 176.057 miles per hour for what I believe is, if not his first career pole, one of his first career poles. This is huge for Davey Allison here in that 28 team. They seem closer and closer to victory every single week. Soon enough, they are going to end up winning one of these races, and it's just a matter of time. So let's go ahead and go through the top 10 of the starting order as we always do here. Davey Allison on pole. Tim Richmond is in the second position. Your points leader, Rusty Wallace, will roll off third. Defending Point Series champion Alan Kowicki will roll off in the fourth position. In fifth, we have Bill Elliott. In sixth, we have Mark Martin. Seventh, Sterling Marlin, who's put together a solid campaign after a few DNFs to start the season. In eighth, we have the hotshot Ken Schrader. Again, he's won 3 out of the last 4, and he's looking for his third win in a row today. Then we have Morgan Shepherd in the ninth position, and Ricky Rudd will round out the top 10. Here is the command for today's race.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
The cars have all fired off here on the back straightaway. Pace cars now taking off as the cars are going to line up 2 by 2 here. We have a little bit of an issue here on the start. Here with a little bit of a technical failure. Going to go ahead and get that fixed. The cars are all rolling off. 42 cars will go ahead and start today's race. There you see Richard Petty, who notched career win number 199 this year at Talladega. All these cars are lining up. A pace car dives off of turn number 4. And it's now down the very long tri-oval section of this 2-mile-long racetrack. The green flag is out and we're underway here from Michigan. As the cars fly by, they scream off into turn number 1. Davey Allison will jump out to a quick advantage. Tim Richmond trying to hold on to the second position on the outside line. Looks like he will be able to do that. So Richmond will fall into second. Now the battle's for third. Alan Kowicki trying to get free of Rusty Wallace. Bear with me there, I'm sorry. Rusty Wallace here down on the inside. Coming off of turn number 4, it looks like he might be able to take the third position here, and he does. Lap number 1. Davey Allison. And like I said, this has really been his breakout season so far. We've been waiting for Davey Allison to finally come onto the scene and break out. We know he's got the talent. We know he's got the drive. But we've just been waiting. And now this 28 team, man, they might finally have the car here to pull it off. But we've got a very hungry past champion here. The 1987 Throwbacks champion, Tim Richmond, in that 25 car. You know he's pretty hungry. And we also have the points leader here, Rusty Wallace. You know he's also looking for a win. Looking back here, we got the battle for fourth here. Bill Elliott looks like he's going to clear the number 7. And Sterling Marlin right behind him in the number 5, and then the number 22 car, rather. The number 5's a little bit further back. And then we have Ernie Irvan right behind him. He's going to try to clear Alan Kowicki here. Looks like he will. Let's see if Alan Kowicki tries to cut down to the inside. He was not able to. But it looks like Sterling Marlin might have gotten a little booted to the outside there. And Kowicki's trying to make a run on the outside. Can't quite get there. And right now, it's a little bit of a freight train at the front. 28, 25, 2, 9, and 22. All top 5 in a single line. Ernie Irvan's right there for the 6th position. We look at the fastest time so far, and it's really not even close. It's going to Rusty. Rusty with by far and away the fastest time. That might have to do with the fact that he's in the draft of both the 28 and the 25. But no doubt about it, Rusty Wallace on the top of the charts by a full half of a mile an hour. Meanwhile, battle for the lead, Tim Richmond, he's no stranger to success here at the Michigan International Speedway. He goes right ahead and he jumps down to the inside of Davey Allison. Elliott just put up a lap time above 175.5, as well as Sterling Marlin. So those guys are going fast as well. And it looks like Davey Allison got a really good read there on the high lane. He might go ahead and actually save his lead here as he tries to keep everyone behind him. And Tim Richmond got a little loose there on the inside lane. I don't know if you saw that, but he got a little loose there on the inside lane. It looks like Allison's going to retain the lead. Richmond 2nd, and now the battle's for 3rd as Elliott dives down to the inside of Rusty Wallace. Tim Richmond's going to try to stay there on the inside, though. Allison not quite able to clear Richmond, and it looks like he's going to be able to this time. So Davey Allison to retain the lead here at Michigan. Looks like he's going to jump out by a few car lengths here as well, trying to take advantage of them going 3 wide for the 2nd position. Elliott tried to look down, but it looks like he hit the apron there a little bit. Ended up sliding up. Maybe there's a bump in the track there, the same bump that Richmond ended up getting loose on. I'm not sure what happened, but man. Yeah, that really, really messed up Bill Elliott's run there. It looked like he was going to make it 3 wide, but then it just didn't happen. Meanwhile, Davey Allison's taking this perfect opportunity to go ahead and widen his lead a little bit, as it now looks like Rusty Wallace is going to get full reign here of the 2nd position, or maybe not. Tim Richmond's still there trying to sneak through the inside. He can't get there. And Sterling Marlin is now on the outside here. And sometimes when we go here to Michigan, the outside lane's faster. Sometimes we go, the inside lane is faster. Today, the inside lane is not looking very good. Yeah, it definitely looks like the outside lane's got a little bit of an advantage. We'll see if there is any advantage here with Sterling Marlin trying to make the pass here on Ernie Irvan. We've seen these guys go side by side into 3 and 4, and it looks like that there's some bump on the inside part of the track that really trips up the guys on the inside lane. I'm not sure what it is that trips them up, but it does seem like that there's something on the bottom of turns 3 and 4 that ends up killing the momentum on the inside lane. Ernie Irvan dives down. He's trying to get that 4th position away from Sterling. Marlin driving it in hard, though. He's not giving it up on that outside lane. Yeah, Marlin fighting very hard for that 4th position right now. He's not going to give that up in any way. I'll tell you what, that 22 car has been very fast. Sterling Marlin's really been doing a great job with this 22 car. And I'd say arguably he's been better in that 22 car than Junior Johnson's flagship ride right now, which is Jeff Bodine in that number 11. It's entirely possible, you know, with the way that we're looking here, Junior Johnson might move that Sterling Marlin over to that 11 car if, you know, Sterling Marlin continues to impress like this. He's been a little inconsistent, though, as noted by a few DNFs. So, a little bit of bad luck, a little bit of inconsistency. Junior Johnson doesn't like that. One of the things about Jeff Bodine, he is extremely consistent, almost mind-numbingly so. Last year, he had a majority of the... He was in the lead for a good while in the championship with no wins. Like, he was leading the points for, I think, a good 5-6 races in the middle of the summer. But he had no wins to his total. But he was just consistent. He would, even if he was way outside the top 10 to start the race, he would find a way to slowly bring the car's speed up. And would end up finishing like 7th, 8th, 9th, 6th. Sometimes he'd even get a 3rd or a 4th. And that's one strategy. And another guy that employs that strategy, that has employed that strategy this season, Mark Martin. Like I said, extreme consistency has been shown out of this number 6 camp. He has not finished worse than 16th all season long, and here he is. He's up in the top 10 yet again. So he's really strutting his stuff. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead continues here. Allison, Wallace, and Richmond really showing right now they are the class of the field. They've really pulled a good gap here, but maybe Ernie Irvan's starting to close in. Yeah, Ernie Irvan's got a really fast number 4 Morgan McClure Chevrolet. I feel like Ernie Irvan is always that dark horse that everyone forgets about. But man, when he shows up, he is fast. Yeah, this is just a single car race team. And, you know, they're not really affiliated with anybody. And like you said, every once in a while, he pulls up and he does okay. But when it comes to these big tracks, man, Ernie Irvan is fast. Bad fast at the big tracks. No question about it. The 4 is always a bad fast machine at these big tracks. So the top 10 seems to have really settled down here into a single file lane. Davey Allison is in the lead. Rusty Wallace in 2nd. Tim Richmond in 3rd. Ernie Irvan in 4th. That's the lead pack. And then we have a little bit of a... Then we have about a 1 second gap to pack B. That's Sterling Marlin 5th. Bill Elliott 6th. Dale Earnhardt in 7th. And then another second back to pack C. And that's Mark Martin in 8th. Alan Quickie 9th. Ricky Rudd in 10th. Jeff Bodine 11th. Ken Schrader in 12th. And meanwhile, here we go. We got a battle for 10th. Bodine's going down to the inside here of Ricky Rudd. And we'll see if he's able to make the move. These guys are all here trying to make moves, and it looks like Bodine's not going to be able to do it. Bodine not able to make the pass. Meanwhile, Richmond looks to the inside of Rusty Wallace. Had to get out of the throttle. Ernie Irvan jumps to the outside, but he can't get the momentum. Can Richmond get the momentum through the tri-oval? Again, this little bit of battling, and this 28 cars jump back out in front. Last time that Davey Allison ended up getting a win in the throwbacks, you have to go all the way back to his rookie season back in 1987 when he was driving this same car, the number 28 Ford Thunderbird. He ended up winning here, in fact, at Michigan back in 1987. It was his first career win. He has not won a race since then. Yeah, he had a really good 1987, and then he just disappeared, really. 1988, the team didn't really do well. 1989, the team didn't do well. 1990, the team started to do a little bit better. You know, they were showing a upswing. I was not expecting them to be championship pushing this year. But, man, that's exactly what they're doing right now with this 2018. Yeah, and you know, these Robert Yates guys, they have done a fantastic job by taking this number 28 of Davey Allison, slowly pushing him up. They've got Larry McReynolds here as the crew chief, and these guys have just been slowly building Davey Allison up, slowly building their cars up. I'll tell you what, once these guys really get their program 100% figured out, these guys are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the championship for a very, very long time to come. Right now, you want to talk about Davey Allison. He's set to have his best average finish of his career. Right now, he's got an average finish of 13th, and that includes 2 DNFs of 40th and 41st. So, it has not come out with a little bit of struggle for Allison, but man, he is looking very strong today. Battle for third, Ernie Irvan trying to get around Tim Richmond. And here we go. That'll probably do it. Now, another one of the things that I want to talk about here is that Rusty Wallace, along with Ken Schrader, though it doesn't look like Ken Schrader really brought the car to beat today, Rusty Wallace has just been on a hot streak. He's been on a streak where he's finished 1st, 7th, 5th, 3rd, 9th, 3rd, and 5th. And that comes off of a DNF. So Rusty Wallace has been a lightning rod hot. And Mark Martin, and during that same stretch, Mark Martin's been 5th, 11th, 2nd, 12th, 8th, 16th, and 7th. So Mark Martin has not been bad during that stretch. He just hasn't been as good as Rusty Wallace has been, and that's why Rusty Wallace has got the points lead right now. It's really crazy to think that, too, because, man, Martin's just been crazy good all season long. He's actually got the best average finish with an 8-2. Rusty Wallace is going to pass him in this race, though, if he ends up finishing 2nd and Martin ends up finishing in, 8th. All depends on the pit strategy, however. And man, Tim Richmond is falling in the Wayback Train. He was up, he was right there. He was in the 2nd position, then he lost 3rd, and now he's lost 4th, and now he's just trying to barely hold on to 5th. And now Dale Earnhardt's there, who might be able to take control of 6th. And man, this was the core 4 that ended up really putting on a show back in 1988. If you remember, this was back when Rusty Wallace was in the 27 Kodiak car still. And we had Bill Elliott in the red Coors Ford. We had Tim Richmond in the Folgers Chevrolet. And we had Dale Earnhardt still in his black Chevrolet. And all of these guys, all 4 of them, they put on one of the most amazing clinics you'll ever see. The 4 of them just dominating the championship. I think between the 4 of them, they ended up winning 23 out of the 29 races that year, which is just insane to think of. That 4 drivers would just dominate the championship like that. But that's what ended up happening. It ended up creating an amazing championship race, which Dale Earnhardt won his 3rd that year. Dale Earnhardt, of course, he's looking for a 4th championship this year. He's sitting pretty right now. He's 4th in points, 10-7 average finish. He's doing great. And one of his Achilles heel seems to be qualifying. And look at this. Rusty Wallace might be getting a ticket on the way back train now here too, because Ernie Irvan just is trying to fly right by him for 2nd. Wow. And maybe Tim Richmond and Rusty Wallace used up a little too much of their equipment, went too fast for too long, and now they're starting to get picked apart out there. Davey Allison's really pulled away during this stretch as well. Sterling Marlin trying to break down here. Let's see if he can get the 3rd position away from Rusty Wallace. Be interesting to see. Sterling Marlin, this could very easily be his 3rd top 10 in 4 races. So this 22 team has really made strides as of late to start to be this front-running team that they were expected to be early on this season, but then it looked like, oh, maybe they wrecked out twice, so maybe they're only going to be a mid-pack team. I don't think that's going to be the case this time around. I mean, Sterling Marlin might be here to stay. Meanwhile, Ernie Irvan, swerving Ernie Irvan right on the back of the 28 of Allison now. Now you got to figure we're about halfway. Pit stops are going to be happening soon. Now, and yeah, we're going to have to worry about pit stops soon. Irvan tries the outside. No, here we go. Here comes the pit stops. Davey Allison, Tim Richmond. Looks like they're going to be going down now. Mark Martin also coming in, Ricky Rudd, Ken Schrader, Alan Kowicki, a few others coming in as well. And that's going to give 5 bonus points to Ernie Irvan. And Irvan can definitely use those 5 bonus points. I mean, he's been decent. He had a great start to the season, 4 straight top 10s. In fact, he was the only person to have 4 straight top 10s to start the season. And then he just had a miserable stretch at it where he finished 13th, 35th, 28th, 22nd, and 23rd. With a 3rd place peppered in there. And last week he finished 9th. So Irvan's just hoping to get back on track, get a good run here going together, because that was just a miserable stretch for him. Meanwhile, look who's out here to seize the day. Is Phil Parsons on the lead lap. I think he is. I don't know. I don't know if he's out there to lead a lap or not. Meanwhile, we take a look. Leader in, Davey Allison. So far, leader out. Looks like Davey Allison. We'll see what Phil Parsons does here. I think he was already out on the track. I think it was a lap down already. We'll have to see. Maybe it was a brilliant pitch strategy. I don't know. So anyways, that pitch strategy worked great for Davey Allison and Tim Richmond. They got way out ahead of Ernie Irvan and Rusty Wallace here. And look who might blow right on by here on the outside of turns 3 and 4. It's Mark Martin. He blows right around the 2 car. I have a feeling we're going to have a really good points battle between these two. I don't think those guys are going anywhere. I don't think so either. I think it's going to be an incredible points battle. So I'll just say this right now. Whatever pitch strategy Phil Parsons decided to pull off, it worked great for him. He's inside the top 10 right now. Oh, there you go. Phil Parsons inside the top 10. No, it doesn't look like he'll stay there for long. Whatever he did, he's inside the top 10. I don't think he'll be able to make it all the way to the end, though. Those leaders pit directly on lap 25. So you got to make sure they can make it to the end too. So it's entirely possible that these guys battle for the lead here, Tim Richmond and Davey Allison, that could be all for naught if they can't make it to the end. Mark Martin showing up. He comes out of the pits fourth, which is great for him. He really, really needed that. Ricky Rudd came out fifth. Rusty Wallace sixth. Alan Kwiecki seventh. Sterling Marlin eighth. Looks like ninth is going to be Phil Parsons. And 10th, well, to be determined between Ken Schrader and Dale Earnhardt. I guess we'll say Ken Schrader came out in 10th. And here's 11th on back. So right now we got a battle for the lead. It's going to be between Davey and Tim. I guess we could call Tim Richmond the old guard by this point. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, Tim Richmond by no means is an old guy. He's 36 years old. And Davey Allison's 30. But these two, I guess you could say that Davey Allison's the new guard. I don't know. Tim Richmond hasn't won a championship in a few years, so sure, we'll go with that. Slow car up ahead. Battle for the lead. Richmond trying desperately to get around the 28 car. Davey Allison's locked down the bonus for the most laps led in this race. So he will get the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. And Davey Allison's just like, come on, Craig, get out of the way. There you go. He's out of the way, all right. And it's like, come on, Greg, get out of the way, man. Well, new leader, 25, Tim Richmond. We'll see if Richmond will be able to pull away here or not. I imagine he'll probably be able to do it pretty well. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see if Allison's able to close back in. We'll take a look at the times here. Richmond, 173.17. Davey Allison, 173.18. Identical. Meanwhile, we look a little bit further back. Ernie Irvan also now trying to get around Greg Sachs. And it looks like a 4-car battle has ensued here for the 5th position. Yeah, this looks pretty unstable. Ricky Rudd trying to hold on to 5th. 6th, Rusty Wallace. 7th, Alan Kwiecki. And 8th, Sterling Marlin. Marlin dives down to the inside. He wants a piece of it. See if Marlin will actually be able to gain this position here. I don't know. I think the outside lane's a little too strong here. Don't think that move is going to work until later on in the run. We'll have to see. Oh, Rusty Wallace trying there. And man, it looks like Sterling Marlin shot out of a cannon. He got around the 7, and now he's trying to get around the 2. Sterling Marlin wasting no time right now in this number 22 machine. He wants to go. Yeah, he's got the giddy up on that car right now. He's just wanting to go. There's no questioning that either. He's just going out there and he's just racing his tail off. Greg Sachs now holding up these guys. And it looks like Sterling Marlin's going to pick all 3 of them off. 3 wide. Are we going to go 4 wide into 1? Alan, come on. Don't be a madman. So Sterling Marlin just went from 8th to 5th there with that run. Well, clearly Marlin's on his way towards the front. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace goes all the way to the back of this, so a real bad deal here for the number 2 car. Again, he's racing for he's racing for a points lead here, so he really needs those positions, considering that Mark Martin right now, he's just sitting pretty in this 4th position. Meanwhile, it continues to be virtually identical lap times between Tim Richmond and Davey Allison. It does not look like that Allison is catching Richmond at all. However, it does appear that Ernie Irvan is running them both right down. So Ernie Irvan has been going flat out here. No doubt about it. And he is trying his best to go ahead and run down both the 25 and the 28. So we'll see here if Ernie Irvan is able to pull off a win here. It'd be pretty insane if he did. I mean, it would be really good. It'd be his first win of the season. And hopefully he can go ahead and just get out of the funk that this team has been in for quite a while now. Now, looks like now with Ernie Irvan coming, Davey Allison's like, you know what? I'm going to get on the gas here. I got to start going. So he sees the 4 car. He's like, all right, I'm going to step up the pace. Now, let's see if Tim Richmond decides to step up the pace. Oh, man, we got a 3-car battle for the lead. Tim Richmond, 1987 Throwbacks champion. Davey Allison, 1 win to his career. And Ernie Irvan with that breakout 1990 season last year where he won 3 races. Now the question is, what's going to happen here? We got slow cars up ahead. Is anyone willing to break out on Jeff Purvis? Looks like Allison's going to be saddled with the high lane. Allison trying to go higher than Purvis. Will this pay off? But Bobby Hillen's going to slide up. Oh, that would have been nice if Hillen wasn't there. But Hillen was there. And now Ernie Irvan trying to find a way around Tim Richmond. Richmond's not going to block him. Irvan trying to get to him on the outside. There he goes. He's making the move. I think he's got the lead. I think he's got it as well. Irvan just stole the lead away from both Tim Richmond and Davey Allison. He just passed them like they were standing still. Wow. Ernie Irvan, is there any question that he showed up with the car to perform today? My goodness, what a show there. He just blew by Tim Richmond like it was standing still. Now, Davey Allison's sitting here. He's the pole sitter. He wants to go up there. He wants a piece of Irvan for sure. Question is he going to get it? I don't know. He's got to get around this 25 car first. And it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that anytime soon. Richmond is just putting up a hell of a fight, trying to keep the younger Allison behind him. And meanwhile, Ernie Irvan, he's driving off into the sunset right now. He's got this race won pretty much no matter what, because he was on the later pit cycle too. So, Irvan's got the gas to make it. He's got the speed to make it. No question marks associated with this 4-car whatsoever. going to come to the line here with only a few more laps to go. And Irvin's lead is just slowly growing on these guys. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace looked like he got out in front of all these guys, and now he's back on the outside. Just as soon as he thinks he was able to get around everyone, it just isn't happening. This is going to be a big, big points day for Mark Martin. If he's able to maintain that fourth position, it's going to be a real big points day for him. Lots of positions are going to be between him and Rusty Wallace. Though it's not going to cut the entire deficit out. It's going to chunk it by a pretty decent amount here. No doubt about it. We got 6 laps to go here. And it looks like now, starting to come up on some slower traffic here. You see everyone trying to get around Stanley Smith. And now we have Mickey Gibbs and Wally Dallenbach going side by side here. Now it's going to be really interesting because Ernie Irvin's going to get boxed in. He's really going to get slowed up. And now this is the shot that Richmond and Allison really needed. I don't know if it was a good enough shot, though. I don't think that they were close enough to capitalize. Yeah, I really do not think that that 25 car was close enough to capitalize on that. Five laps to go. Can anyone run down Ernie Irvin? Richmond is there. Allison is there. They just got to get to him. Well, catching them is one thing. Passing them is an entirely different thing as well. So you got to realize that too, that they can get to them, but they also got to be able to pass them. And they also got to realize they've got to make it here on fuel. They pit on lap 25 right down the middle. They have to make sure they got enough gas to make it all the way to the end. Ken Schrader made that mistake once. He had by far, in 1989, he had by far the most dominant car in that number 35 machine. By far the most dominating car. He just pit early, and he didn't have enough fuel to make it all the way to the end. It's not a good strategy. 3 to go. Looking a little further back, Martin's in trouble here. Yeah, it looks like Mark Martin might be in danger of losing, if not one, but maybe 2 full positions here. But I also think he's been holding back, conserving some of his tires here. So let's try to figure out what's going on here with Mark Martin before anyone goes into panic mode. No, I think Sterling Marlin's just trying to blow by him, and Dale Earnhardt's just sitting there. 2 laps to go. Yeah, looks like Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt are just going to go right by him. No issues. So maybe it won't be as good of a points day for Mark Martin as he would have hoped. That's going to be 10 less points that he will receive if those positions end up being taken away from him. And that means he's really going to want Ricky Rudd to get back around Rusty Wallace here. Otherwise, he's going to only end up gaining 8 points on Rusty Wallace. And that's, I mean, I know it's just a game of inches here when it comes to the points, and it's a little too early, but every single point matters. White flag, 1 lap to go as Ernie Irvin is trying to finish us off here at Michigan. He looks good coming off of turn 2. No issues. No issues there from Richmond or Allison either. Going into turn 3. It's going to be all about the 4 team. Coming off the line, Irvin had a miserable short track stretch, but he's finally come back and put a good car together, and Ernie Irvin will win the Miller Genuine Draft 400 here from Michigan. Not a bad race there at all. Ernie Irvin did a fantastic job. He just stood there. He waited for his time. And he just struck at the right moment. Davey Allison still waiting to break his winless streak, even though I think he might have had the car to beat today. Unfortunately, it just didn't end up panning out in his direction. And that's just a little heartbreaking, to say the least. Taking a look at points, Mark Martin draws a little bit closer to Rusty Wallace. 35 points now separates them. Alan Kowicki is still right there. Dale Earnhardt is still right there. And then it's a pretty big drop off after that. You consider that win by Ernie Irvin. That boosted him in the standings by quite a bit as well. So clearly a lot of benefits to go around there. But Rusty Wallace still in the points lead. However, we're going to a track that he's not exactly a big fan of next. Next time out, we're going to Daytona for the Pepsi 400. We will see you then.